today we're going to jump into what's quite a bit easier, I think, than when we were adding and subtracting with integers. So today we begin multiplying and dividing integers. We're going to do them both together. 2 lessons in the Big Ideas book, so we're actually into chapter 2 now. It's lesson 1 and lesson 2. We're going to do them together. So we're going to quickly go through, and if you are filling in notes, then you're going to end up writing in a couple of these. If you're using the filled in copies, you just have to fill in. So when the signs are the same, okay, with multiplication or division, here is our rule. The product or quotient of 2 integers with the same sign is always positive. I apparently left my noises in here, sorry. So a positive times a positive is a positive, and a negative times a negative is also a positive. And here's some examples of that. We're going to actually stop using that little x as multiplication. Most of the time we're going to use a dot. If we have division, we're actually going to not use the division sign this year. We're going to use it as a fraction, but a positive divided by a positive is a positive, like you've always had. But now a negative divided by a negative is also a positive. And so we're going to come up with a shortcut, so you can kind of see positive 10 divided by 2 is 5. Negative 10 divided by negative 2 is also positive 5. All right. The quotient or product means the answer to a multiplication question. The quotient is the answer to a division question. When the signs are different, the answer is always negative. So if you have a positive times a negative, like in these examples, so 2 or 6 times negative 2. Lots of times if you just see the parentheses, that just means you're multiplying. You might not see a multiplication symbol anymore, and that means it's going to be negative 12. And also if we flipped it around and did negative 6 times positive 2, you're also going to get negative 12. Today is pretty easy because you're going to be dealing with integers, so no decimals, no fractions. Same is true if you're dividing, so the quotient, so negative divided by a positive, negative 10 divided by positive 2, signs are diff, you're going to get negative 5. If you had positive divided by a negative, you're also going to get negative 5. In this case, positive 10 divided by negative 2 is positive 5. We're going to kind of show you an easier way. So the way we like to remember it is same, pos, diff, neg, and often I have you guys chant that. Okay, there's also a little YouTube link here to my good friend MC Santi. He's very entertaining, and so in class we will watch him, but if you want to watch MC Santi on his multiplying and dividing integers, it's very helpful. This is kind of a cool thing. You kind of make a tic-tac-toe board. Anybody can quickly do that, and all you have to do is put plus signs all the way down the diagonal, okay? And what that's telling me is if I multiply a positive, or divide for that matter, times a negative, the answer is going to be a negative. If I do a negative times a positive, the answer will also be negative. If I do a negative times a negative, it's also going to be positive. And you guys already know that a positive times a positive is a positive. So Mrs. Clark showed me this kind of cool triangle. So you can quickly draw a triangle and put 2 negatives and then a plus. And then the way you look at it is, if I circle these 2, that's a negative times a positive. The answer would then be negative. If I erase that real quick, if I go to this side of this triangle, that's now a positive times a negative. The answer is still going to be negative. If I erase that again, and if I go ahead and circle my other direction, and I have a negative times a negative, that answer is going to be positive. So that's just a quick way to kind of check if you, when you're doing your problems. So today we're going to go through some real quick questions here and just work our way through. So as we jump in here, we have first one. Oops, excuse the noises once again. We have a positive times a negative. So once again, the signs are diff. If we look down here, you can see, the answer is going to be negative. We're looking for a positive times a negative. The answer is going to be negative. And you're going to multiply and you get, whoops, I guess we didn't have the answers popping up. I forgot. So that's going to be negative 60 because the signs are different. If you need to multiply because you don't know your 12s, do it out on the side. Okay, you should know your 9 and times 8. So 9 times 8, we now have a negative times a negative. So we're down here, which means the answer is going to be positive, which is positive 72. I'm going to erase some of these down here. We could have also used our triangle, and we would have circled our negative and our negative, and that gives us a positive. All right, fun noises. Here we go. All right, now this one, occasionally you're going to come up with numbers that are bigger than what you're used to. We're going to still look. We have a positive, we have a negative, And so we're here. The answer is going to be negative, so I'm going to put that in there. But if I don't know how to multiply these mentally in my head, then I'm going to have to do the good old-fashioned work. So 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12. Done with the 4, put your 0 place value holder, jump over to the 1 now. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. And we're going to add, and we get 270. So the answer is negative 270. So sometimes you have to do the work out on the side. Okay. Next example. Now we got three numbers, and so we have negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. Now some students will look at this and say the signs are all the same, so the answer is positive, but we know that in math we need to do one step at a time. And so now I'm looking there, and it's negative 4 times negative 4. Well, those signs are the same, so that answer is positive, but now we're down to a positive now times a negative, and so the signs are diff to end. And what we're going to learn in a moment, well, so we're going to go 16 times 4. In case you don't know that, do it in your head. You're going to get 64, so we get negative 64. Now, what we're going to start to learn is if you can count your negatives, if you have an odd number of negatives, the answer is going to be negative. If you have an even number of negatives, the answer is going to be positive. We're going to learn that we're getting our exponents. So, once again, enjoy the noises. All right, so here we go. We have three numbers. Once again, do one step at a time. If you look, you'd say, oh, the signs are different. But if we start here, the signs are different to start with. Signs are different. 5 times 5 is 25. Signs are different, so it's going to be negative 25. Bring down your times negative 4. Now the signs are the same, so the answer is going to be positive. If I had 4 quarters in my pocket, that's $1 or 100, so you should know that mentally. So that's 100, positive 100. Okay, moving on. All right, let's practice some dividing. So some basic division. So once again, we're going to look. Signs are the same. We have a negative divided by a negative. So negative, negative makes the answer going to be positive. So it's just positive 6. Okay. Oops, I guess I do have the answers coming up on this one. So we now have a positive divided by a negative. Signs, well, positive divided by a negative is going to give me a negative answer. So I get negative 7 when I do 35 divided by negative 5. This one we have negative 12 divided by negative 12. Those signs are the same. And so when the signs are the same, the answer is always positive. So we get positive 1. Jumping over here, purposely did. Now some of these you guys can do, you can kind of do this one in your head, but I chose one that's a little bit bigger than what you're used to, so you have to do the workout on the side possibly. And in this case, I can't do 5 divided by 25, so 52 divided by 25 would be 2. If I had 2 quarters, that's 50. Subtract, bring down your 5. 25 divided by 25 is 1. And so we get our remainder of 0. And so the signs are diff, we get negative 21. And finally, what I wanted you to see on this one is fractions. You guys need to understand, and whoops, there was a typo. So this was supposed to be a negative in here, that's why. So bear with the answer here. But we get negative 98. What I want you to see is all fractions are division, okay? And in 7th grade, you just need to get used to that. You're not going to see a multiplication sign anymore. You're going to see a dot, or you're going to see parentheses. You're not going to see a division sign like you've had in 1 through 4. You're going to see a fraction. That's how we're going to see it. And so I like to talk Horsey method, top number in the fraction. This one falls inside, and then we're ready to divide. And you can go through your steps. Divide, so you have 29 divided by 3 is 9, which is 27. Subtract. You get your 2. 2 is less than 3, so I can bring down 24 divided by 3 is 8. And that's where we get 98. And the signs are supposed to be different. So that's why the answer popped up as a negative. Okay, so we're gonna do lots and lots of practice with this, but this should be a fairly quick, fairly easy assignment because you're just dealing with integers, so not big, ugly numbers, okay? So as a reminder, last unit we talked about addition rules. So when it was adding, the signs are the same, you add and keep. When the signs were different, you subtract and tug of war. If it was subtraction, you did keep, change, change. And now we're adding to it multiplication and division. And so when the signs are the same, the answer is always positive. When the signs are different, the answer is always negative. And you can make this quick little reminder. It doesn't take long. You can make either one of these reminders and draw it on your paper really fast, or you can do same, pos, diff, neg, and write that down. Okay, tonight's homework assignment is the Big Ideas assignment. You guys are going to go to your Big Ideas, find your assignment there, remember, you can check your answers. You guys should not get a score below 70%. If you get a 70% or better, I'm going to give you full credit. But if you get below a 70%, then obviously you're rushing or you're not checking your answers. You have a help button, use it. Okay, submit a screenshot of your score on Canvas. This one shouldn't need a lot of work to be shown, so I'm not going to make you submit your work this time, but I want you to submit your screenshot of your score this time. Okay, so I hope you have a wonderful day, and reach out to your teacher if you have questions.